It's actually even worse than what's reported, because you have to understand that when it comes to terms that are considered polarizing, terms like fascism and Nazi are considered to be polarizing terms. But unfortunately, those are the correct ways to describe what is happening with Republicans.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. It's nearly Halloween and the midterms are coming, so it's time for the leftist media to put on some masks and try to cover up how scary things have become under the Biden administration. I mean, sure, inflation is high, but blaming Joe, well, that's just plain wrong.
Adam Laxalt is not the first Republican to blame the Biden administration for inflation, but this rationale is especially foolish.
Indiana Velshi and the lamers of the lost facts. Close your eyes, Marion. Don't look at the Fed.
Marion, don't look at it. Shut your eyes, Marion. Don't look at it no matter what happens.
The leftist media assures us that even though there's a lot of bad economic news, especially from the Fed on interest rates, a Biden recession could be kinder and gentler than other recessions.
There are areas that are starting to show weakness. For example, the housing market. The Federal Reserve has been hiking interest rates. That puts pressure on housing as mortgage rates climb. Businesses are also expected to cut back on spending. We've heard in the last 24 hours from companies like Microsoft, Google, and Facebook about weakness. And economists are predicting a recession in the next 12 months, but one that could be weak and less long than typical. Robin?
Not all recessions are alike. Okay, Rebecca, thank you for that.
Yeah, there seems to be a difference in the way that you cover them. Kind of like how ABC News product The View treats Republican candidates as compared to how they treat Democrats, like Pennsylvania's John Fetterman.
The Republican Party is running a bunch of ads about showing Fetterman stumbling on things because of the stroke. What kind of a doctor is behind that?
But on Tuesday, hours before the debate in Pennsylvania, Joy Behar mocks Governor Ron DeSantis by saying,
you know, this guy, DeSantis, has the charisma of this cup, okay?
Yeah.
I think when Chris says, are you going to run in 2024, he looks like he's having a stroke. He can't even answer that simple question.
Interesting choice of words there, Joy.
Looks like he's having a stroke.
MSNBC in particular this week is really concerned about a report about the use of divisive, inflammatory devil words in politics. And they know who's to blame for that.
Pick up the paper, look at the stories on the front page, turn on the TV for 10 minutes. It's more than a feeling. It's now a provable fact. The New York Times used what is called natural language processing to analyze nearly 4 million items. They included tweets, Facebook ads, newsletters, congressional speeches. The result, not only an impressive accounting of a decade's worth of inflammatory rhetoric, but also its primary sources.
This MSNBC coverage comes out on the same day that there's a study on networks screaming that divisive devil word, fascist. And guess what? MSNBC leads the way.
And we do have in our legislature a bunch of, for want of a better phrase, fascists.
Sounds like fascism.
Fascist, 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 fascist.
Oh, but you know, it's okay for them, you see.
Because you have to understand that when it comes to terms that are considered polarizing, terms like fascism and Nazi are considered to be polarizing terms. But unfortunately, those are the correct ways to describe what is happening with Republicans. And then the report would be, Democrats call Republicans fascists, and Republicans say that the Democrats are groomers. These are not on equal terms. One is the truth, and the other is a lie. And that's what we have to make sure that we talk about every single day.
Yeah, where would people ever get the idea that Democrats are perverts or groomers?
It's day 222 of being a girl. I'm in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to the White House to speak to the President of the United States. You know that phrase, I fear I may have girl bossed too close to the sun? Well, that's how I feel today, because I get to sit down with Joe Biden and now this news, and I get to ask him a few questions surrounding trans issues in the United States.
Yeah, that happened.
And do you have any messages to the families of trans folks that are seeking, options for their children, but are struggling to find resources? Do you have a message to those parents?
Yeah, I do.
Now that Biden's answer makes a ton of sense, but
it is again speaking to my son when he was spent a year in Iraq.
And it rambles on, but the whole thing just doesn't smell right. You know what I mean?
There's nothing pervy here.
But again, don't suggest there's anything perverted about a grown man claiming to be an actual girl and talking with Biden about how parents should raise their children.
Seeking, options for their children.
And I mean, to suggest that seems a little strange or perverted, well, then there's the devil words that the New York Times has been talking about.
Democrats call Republicans fascists, and Republicans say that the Democrats are groomers. These are not on equal terms.
Yeah, they certainly aren't. Just ask anyone serving in the Biden administration. But again, for the left, it's amazingly okay for MSNBC to be divisive and call Republicans fascists and Nazis. And this week, even when they claim that they're not comparing Republicans to Nazis, they do it by comparing Republicans to Nazis.
Well, I mean, I'm not calling, I'm not going to say that, the GOP are Nazis at this point or whatever, but it certainly sounds very familiar to what happened in Germany, which is a bunch of citizens. Adolf Hitler gets a third of the vote. Nobody thought it could happen there. They kind of went along because they said he was going to solve the economy and fix inflation.
Yeah. You want a good economy and lower inflation? Well, the leftist media believes you are a Nazi now. So you better vote the way they want in the midterms if you don't want to be one.
That's exactly right. And then we can all argue about tax rates and normal politics later.
You wouldn't want to cast your vote based on real issues like taxes or inflation concerns. That's just crazy talk.
But it certainly sounds very familiar to what happened in Germany.
That is all the stupidity I can take this week. I'm Eric Shiner for MRC-TV, asking you to help us keep videos like this coming. Visit the MRC homepage and consider making a donation, or check out the MRC Store for some great conservative gear that you can purchase. That helps us out as well. Please visit MRCTV.org for the latest in videos, entertainment, and information. And please like, share, and subscribe to these videos on the platforms where you see us. We'll be back next week with some more leftist media madness.